Starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome everybody to the Hearth and Home podcast episode number 8. My name is Clark HELLSCREAM, and today I'm going to be completing the second interview with Dane because the very first one that we did, we had a few technological issues, but we're getting back at it a few weeks later. We've got a solidified plan this time. We're just kind of freelancing it, but this time we got a solid plan. So Dane, good to have you back on the show for, I guess, a second time, if you want to get into technical terms. But how are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, it was my fault, actually, because the recording I had did not save properly. I've just checked it's working now. So I blame XSplit, not me.
Yeah, so for those who are interested why it didn't work, there was something it just didn't, it was too big, I guess, the file. And
I think it was we were talking for like 2.5 hours, I think it was, wasn't it? And
yeah.
The file size must have been too large and corrupted, and no idea.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to keep this a little bit over at like no more than an hour, just to keep things concise and to make sure this episode will actually get posted. So I have everything in front of me, so we could just easily go from one topic to the next. But Dane, you want to start off with anything particular? Because I've already got my list.
Oh yeah, well we didn't do the Twitter questions last time, did we? Even though we were talking for 2.5 hours, we just forgot.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. I save it for like the very last, yeah, it's just always like a nice like thing to end it with, But if you want to do that now, I do have the tweets pulled up, so everything is already good to go.
I'll go on. We'll save it to the end because I haven't seen them yet, so it'll be a surprise.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they've been sitting there for about like a month. Like you could have done the research, but I think it's better to actually not know the questions either.
Yeah, like, I avoid going on Twitter as much as possible. So I think I saw the tag and I was like, okay, well I'll leave them till, because we set it up a week in advance, didn't we? So I think you asked questions a week in advance, and I was just gonna leave it. But now it's been a month, so hopefully they weren't like topical questions.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of actually goes into like my first question with you saying that you don't use social media. Is how exactly how exactly are your typical days? Like, obviously, for content creators, we got to make a video, we got to do live stream, we got to do all this stuff behind the scenes. But what happens when you're not in front of the computer doing your thing?
Oh, so I'll use social media. I'll just save it for when I'm on the toilet. Do you know when you need a good read? So instead of a newspaper, I'll just load up Twitter and have a little glance at it then, see what's going on. And then as for like everything else, that's it. Twitter and YouTube and Twitch. I suppose you can count that as social media, couldn't you? Just those three. So once I log on, I do my stream, do my edits, and then once I walk away from the PC, that's it then. I'll like do bike rides, go to the gym, gardening, DIY, bits like that. Just boring.
Oh, but
stuff.
you do garden? You do gardening?
Well, I'm forced to, yeah, because the grass gets too long otherwise. And I've got a couple of plants out there at the minute.
Okay. Anything in particular that you like to grow?
Last year, it's boring, this, isn't it? I boarded the two strips of the garden, so two strips to the back I boarded. I got like a ton of gravel and some like weeding fabric so the weed can't grow through. So that last year I was like growing like geraniums, what else? A couple of rose bushes on the sides. There's a video of it actually. I might what I'll do after this, I'll link you to it. There's like a little video of my garden and the strips of plants. I forgot all of them from last year because some of them died. They're only like spring ones.
But yeah, if you want to like send me like any pictures, I can like put it on the screen so people can also see exactly what we're looking at.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'll go mow the lawn actually soon.
I come from an Italian family, and my grandmother absolutely loved gardening. Like it was just like one of the things that she would always do. She would often garden with her mother back in the days, and it's just like, I don't know, man. There's just something about a good garden whenever you're going in like a backyard or something like that. It's almost like a sense of peace. Because I'll tell you right now, like where I'm living, I'm very close to Indianapolis. And literally, one of the reasons why I told you to wait another half hour wasn't just because I was finishing up a video, but there was literally people screaming outside. And I can't tell you what was going on. It was some kind of just like, I don't know, people just yelling. Something happened. The cops got called, and now everyone's yelling, and like the neighborhood's tired of this shit because this happens every single Sunday kind of deal. Like I'm not even kidding, man. Every single Sunday, every other week, there's either an ambulance or a cop car on this fucking road. I'm so glad that In 2 weeks, I'm moving. I'm gone. I'm done with this neighborhood. I'm just, ugh.
Yeah, I'd say
Bad.
it can be like that around here, but we have specials, which is not they're not real police officers. They're like volunteer.
Real police officers.
No,
What even are
the
they?
volunteer police officers specials they're called. So they they don't have any power of arrest, but if they see a crime being committed, I think they just hold you and call the real police. But
So it's like a vigilante, except it's legal, kind of.
yeah, they're an organization. Yeah, they're recognized. I think what people do is if they want to apply for the police, they would join maybe the specials first to have like an advantage. It's almost like volunteering for a job when you're like 16, 17 to have something on your CV or
Okay.
your resume. If I'm right, yeah, basically.
That seems like a better way of hiring cops, honestly. Like we're gonna put you in this position first to make sure that you can report things properly and that you can do all the other aspects of being a cop, except the most dangerous parts of it. So I think I kind of like that little bit of the system.
Yeah, I don't know enough about them, but I know like kids and that don't take them very seriously. Like,
I mean, it's to the same degree with like Americans not respecting like the cops that are on segways and whatnot.
oh,
Like
you have
like
that
like mall cops.
like
Like, do you guys
beach.
have mall cops?
No. We have sometimes like we have security guards at McDonald's. You know, if you ever go on a night out in England, McDonald's is fucking rough. You go in like a Mackey's at 3 or 4 in the morning, and they have these big like 6'5" stocky bouncers making sure there's no troubles because it's like the most likely place to get into a fight when you go out is in a takeaway place at the end of the night. So we have
Okay, I mean that kind of makes sense, I guess. I mean, at the end of the night, people usually have like a drink or something in them. They just want their food immediately, and if anything gets in the way, it's like, are you trying to fight me? Like,
yeah. It's just like it's like pissed up lads in it in a
see that
Mackey's.
in America, I feel like that's very, very common. Like that's just Tuesday afternoon for some people. Like they'll just get into a fight just because, like not necessarily like a fist fight altercation, but just like let me speak to your manager type deal,
verbal.
or it's like you guys screwed up blank and blank, and I want a compensation, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's not very English to complain. I don't think they try. I think the English try not to complain, or just people from the UK maybe try not to complain too much. And the queue. I think whenever I think of the UK, I think of they love a good queue, and they're too polite to complain about stuff, or not polite, maybe like too afraid of complaining.
Yeah, I mean, some people just don't have like they don't have confrontation in their blood, and the moment that things start becoming like, oh, what are you trying to fight me a little bit? It's like, hold up, man, I didn't say anything like that. Like some people don't know how to deal with that kind of situation, and I'll tell you right now, like I've been in those kind of situations before, and I freeze up. Like I don't really know how you're supposed to deal with that unless you throw the first punch, and I'm not a good fighter, so that's not a good long-term game plan.
No, we were talking about MMA last time, weren't we, as well? 'Cause,
Yeah,
I was
it
asking if you'd seen any of the fights recently.
Yeah, so in the last recording, it was right around the time where Jake Paul or whatever Paul was fighting that one guy. I don't
Ben
even remember
Askren.
his name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ben
yeah,
Askren,
Chris.
not known for his striking.
Yeah, and he literally got knocked out, or like he ended up losing the game in like less than lost the match in less than a minute.
45 seconds, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now there's gonna be Floyd Mayweather versus the other Paul, so that's gonna be, I guess, interesting to see.
Yeah.
But no, I don't really watch a lot of like sports, like actual sports. The sports that I enjoy would be basketball, and that's pretty much it in terms of like spectating. I wouldn't mind going to like a live baseball game. I've been to plenty of those, but like sports in general, like it takes a lot for me to be interested. Like fighting seems like something I'd be interested in. Like it's literally one dude beating the crap out of another dude for literally our entertainment, but I don't know, man. I just can't get into it.
Yeah, Americans big with sports, isn't it? I mean, in the UK, we've got like obviously football's the biggest. Then you've got like probably rugby. I guess would be the second largest sport, and then it trickles down. Like you got darts, snooker, and then you go down to like Olympics for like popularity and stuff like that. MMA is probably getting up there in boxing. Well, boxing's always been popular.
For Indiana in particular, like, I mean, I know every single state has like its own like unique thing, but Indiana specifically has the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, so racing, like like 500 racing is very popular here. Is there anything like that in the UK?
Is that the big donut tracks?
Yeah. So a 500 is just 500 laps of just the big oval. It's not like a Grand Prix or like a closed construction or like a closed circuit where like they have to drive a certain way. It's just 500 laps, manage resources, and don't crash.
Yeah, I think I've seen them. We don't have that at all over here. To be honest, we do have like basketball teams, but no one's really interested in it. I don't know about baseball actually. They have. I know they in England or in the UK. Sorry, I keep saying England. They have like they do have like hockey teams and hockey leagues and basketball, but I don't think they have baseball. Or they definitely don't have the kind of like that track racing. We have Formula One and rally driving.
Yeah, because you guys have like Grand Prix and stuff over there. So
yeah, there's a few tracks. So we got like Monaco and it's all around like Europe, and I guess is the one in the US F1? Is the F1 track in the US?
I think there's one in California. I don't know 100% know, but I feel like there is definitely something like that in the US somewhere. I just know that there's a lot of racing tracks that aren't just like for cars. Like there's like horse racing tracks. Like that's very popular in like Kentucky. The Kentucky Derby being the primary example.
Yeah, we got one in Liverpool Aintree. That's the biggest horse race in the UK is the Aintree. Once a year, they have like I forget how many horses. I think it's the most amount of horses in one race. The poor bastards always one like falls and gets killed or something like that. It's a pretty like it's a brutal race. Those the big horse races.
Yeah. So something that I wanted to jump into real quick is the story of how we met, because it was kind of interesting. Like, so we talked about this a little bit on the previous recording. But something that I wasn't privy to is that apparently I had sent you a DM on Christmas. It was on Christmas.
It was on Christmas, yeah. Because I just streamed, and I think I must have been playing like Tool or something like that. Because we have a similar music taste, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but it was
that
like,
was. Yeah, that was the big one.
Yeah, I think it was Tool was the main one, and then after that you just started your. Did you do the? It wasn't the Masters, not Master Story. It was DreamHack. DreamHack.
Yeah. Like so what had happened was you had followed me randomly. I don't know what it was that you saw from mine, but you just randomly followed me on Twitter, and I just DM'd you that same day.
Was it?
Then
were you doing like combo decks or something like that? I can't remember what it was.
I was kind of doing. I really wasn't like solidified in what I was like for sure doing, but I was trying to be competitive to the best of my ability. So I was mostly streaming like standard decks and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I was playing not much standard, but I was still following like the DreamHack tours and stuff like that.
Yeah, because this was back in like 2017. Like this was right when Wild was conceived as a thing. Like I think it'd been around for like almost a year at that point.
Yeah, because I before that I was streaming like standard, and then I think at that I couldn't remember if I was like I must have been doing like a 50-50 split, and then just committed to playing Wild at that point. Because 2017, what expansion was that? Was it? It wasn't Cobalt and Catacombs. That was 2018, wasn't it?
The Frozen Throne, I think.
Should I Google it?
I think around the time I think that was right after the Death Knights come out. It was either that or it was the expansion after Knights of the Frozen Throne, which it was Catacombs, Knights of the Frozen Throne, then something else, I believe. I used to know all the expansions like that, but now that I've been a Hearthstone player for just so many years, I just can't keep up with it anymore. I just remember the expansion names.
Yeah, I can give you the order and the alias ones, so like Nax, GVG. Yeah. But I couldn't go beyond. Like when it gets to Cobalt and Catacombs, I forget what order they're released after that.
Exactly, because they all blend together. Like Q-Block, Raza Priest were like the major decks at the time.
Yeah.
Like they just kept getting better and better as time went on. But going back to the messages, pretty much how it happened was this. I said, thanks for the follow. Been a fan of yours ever since the Grand Tournament Major Domo decks, which is what I used to watch. Fun fact, I used to watch your videos when I was in high school, in case anybody didn't know that. You obviously know that, but other people need to be aware that I've been a Dane fan before I even like played the game. So this was like a really big deal that you followed me out of nowhere. So then I sent that message. You said, hey, Merry Christmas. I'll drop you a message when I'm back because I think you're in the middle of moving. But then, skip skip another couple messages, I said something about me being in a band, and that's where the conversation with music started and kept going for like another couple of days.
Yeah, we did a couple of dual streams as well. Remember around Caldwell's and
Yeah.
Catacombs, yeah, because we were doing what was it, meme offs? It was like best of 5.
Yeah, we were playing different. I think we were either playing wild decks as a whole or just some specific combo, or like I think it was just gimmick decks where it could be a combo or it could just be one specific thing to where it's not a meta deck, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, because I remember it was. Oh, yeah,
I think you played a warrior with the possibility of hitting like Mare and the Fox into Wand. I think you were doing something along those lines.
I think you had like a what was it?
I honestly don't remember what
It was
I played.
Paladin. It was Paladin, but it was definitely Paladin.
Oh, Exodia.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's definitely my favorite Death Knight.
Yeah, that's probably my least played actually. I like I always enjoyed Rexar, and I played it with like Jaina mainly as well when that was released, because I just like the continual like value play that you get off that, because like Reno Mage wasn't too bad then.
Yeah, and like Dead Man's Hand Warrior really, I mean, it kind of used the Death Knight every now and again, but I imagine you really haven't utilized it all too much.
Yeah, that was probably the
kind of bad.
I think it was the worst one, right? Like the hero power, it's just to deal 1 damage, so I think doesn't seem worth the 2 mana change. Whereas like everything else was bonkers.
Yeah, now that I think about it, Warrior did kind of get the short end of the stick, because like the weapon is literally something that can be done with like minion attacks now. There's like literally no reason to upgrade the weapon, to upgrade the hero, unless you really care about dealing 1 damage to everything. And by that time, it's turn 8. Why are you waiting this long?
And Ungoro was around the same time, wasn't it? So warriors used the taunt hero power. You know, the quest.
Yeah, the Sulfuros.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was a wild. Didn't you cast the wild tournament as well? Was it this weekend? That's just gone.
You're talking about the one that Zeddy threw. Yes. Zeddy threw his own community wild open, and I think Corbett ended up getting 2nd place in that one.
Did he?
So, yeah, he literally almost won the entire thing yet again. But yeah, I did some casting, and like it was honestly like some of the most fun casting that I've done. I've also casted West versus East, the China versus NA, or the China versus the rest of the world tournament that happens every single expansion.
Yeah.
And it was done similar to that, where we just have a bunch of people on a call and we're just talking about the game. But it was actually a lot of fun because, I mean, it's fun to cast with people that aren't 100% serious, because you get to make more jokes. You don't have to assume that people who are watching don't know what they're seeing, so you don't have to explain every single little nuanced play. But it was a really good mix, and I would love for Blizzard to do more things like that in the future. And I'm pretty sure that Zeddy is going to do another one, because he and Solemn both did it thanks to contributions with Raid Shadow Legends. Like, people got downloads, they got the money, so they threw the tournament because enough people got the download. So I'm pretty confident we may see another one of these in the future.
What was the winning? Was it a free? Was it best of 3? Was it, or what was the?
It was best of 5.
5. Sorry, yeah, 5. Sorry, first 3. Yeah. What was the winning lineup? Or what was the final? I haven't had a chance to watch anything.
I literally did not watch the next day because I had some stuff planned. It was one of those things where I could either cast the Saturday or the Sunday, and I had something going on Sunday.
Yeah.
But I know that, like I said, I know that Corbett got 2nd because I saw the tweet, but somebody ended up winning with, I think, an unconventional lineup. Like, it was kind of funny because like not a lot of people brought like the same decks like I thought they would. I thought I would be seeing a lot of Dark Glare, a lot of APM, and a lot of hand buff. And then probably like Reno Priest is like a safe 4th. But we actually had a pretty diverse bring of decks, at least from the day that I casted.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, like, in a tournament, you don't need to bring... You bring, like, powerful, but you don't really need to bring the top decks, I think. Like, especially, like, tournament deck building's weird to me, because, I don't know, it's just, you're going in trying to counter what you think people are... So it's almost like a prediction type of game. And there's no sideboard, whatever it's called, so you can't exactly swap stuff out. So you're just trying to counter one deck with another.
Yeah, like, I love tournaments. Like, exactly what you just described. Do we go with the good stuff? Do we go with the counterplay? Or do I go with the left field option, which is decks that people don't realize, but I myself am very good with? Yeah. And I would say in the Hearthstone community, that's like the Yarla approach.
I just do that. Whatever I've been playing, I feel comfortable with. I just take that. Because if you start practicing a deck that you don't normally play, you might not have enough time. Because it takes a while to fully get to grips with mulligans and stuff like that. I suppose, especially with every single matchup.
That's why you don't really see a lot of like full-on control lineups. It's not that control is bad or that, it just comes down to people aren't familiar with it. Some people are literally not the kind of people that want to spend 20 minutes playing one particular game, and that's something that you have to get used to with control mirrors.
Yeah.
It's just managing resources. Like, people would rather manage their resources in terms of dealing damage and knowing that they can't win anymore versus spending like 20 minutes and then, oh, they had this one thing happen and now I can't win.
Yeah.
Which, is understandable, but that's just card games as, in nature.
That's why, I mean, whenever I do sit down and read Twitter, it's usually people complaining about, I suppose, standard priest for that reason, where it's just card generation and dragging the game out.
See, the priest argument is very, very intriguing. Because I wouldn't just say it's not just about the random generation. People just don't like the class. They don't like the healing. They don't like rezzing. They don't like it when it deals damage. There is literally, I've not seen one priest deck that people have not complained about. I've just never seen it. Like maybe it was when Control Priest was just so completely garbage back during like the Grand Tournament or something, or at the beginning of the game where people weren't complaining about it.
Yeah.
But even then, people were complaining about Priest because it denied their lethals every now and again.
Yeah.
People just don't like a class that literally is aimed to stealing your stuff and preventing you from killing them.
I think Entomb was when people started to turn against them. when people started to entomb big win condition cards or just big cards in general, they're like, okay, fuck this.
Entomb the Ragnaros, for example.
Yeah, because in the past they were terrible. Like in the first expansion, even during Nax, they were pretty terrible. Like Face Hunter would have a really decent win rate against them, and a Control Warrior would usually beat them with I guess Grom and Alex. I suppose it's hard for them to deal with that.
Priest almost has no immediate win cons. Like they strip the class of almost any bit of damage because again, Priest can't deal damage because people hate it. We saw that with Mind Blast and with Velen and whatnot, or Zarek's Priest back when that was popular.
Yeah, they both got. Did they get a Hall of Fame? Did they? Mind Blast.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mind Blast, Velen. Hall of Famed. Holy Smite used to deal 2 damage, now does 3 to a minion.
Oh yeah. Is it? What about is it in a fire or is it?
Divine Spirit that they got rid of because my friend is actually very vocal about how cool of a card the Inner Fire. I almost forgot too. The Inner Fire is a pretty cool card to my friend because he always likes the play of you do it to a minion that has very, very small attack, or you can't exactly kill a 7 attack minion, so you make it into a 2/2 or whatever. But that card just never sees play. Why would you play a card like that when you could just straight up remove the minion in question?
Yeah. I guess in standard they just want Priest to be the control go-to, I guess. Because if they removed all damage, then it is just a resource grind, isn't it, for them?
Yeah, it's either that or we're playing what we were saying earlier with random generation. Because right now in standard, I don't know 100% of all the good wild decks, and aside from Big Priest and Reno Priest. But in standard, I would say the 2 big priest archetypes are a form of control priest, sometimes running Cthulhu, sometimes not, but just typical priest style. Find random resources, outgrind people that way. But there's also a new deck, which I believe is probably the better one, is APM Miracle Priest, where it's the Nazmani Septic combo.
Yeah, the Bloods. Because you can copy it, can't you, with... there's still that dual class card.
Yeah, I actually don't think that... I would have to double check to make sure that I'm not just speaking from nothing here, because I have played the deck, but I don't know what people are playing nowadays. But Rally is usually the go-to now.
Okay.
Because with this kind of deck, you're not trying to get a whole bunch of discounts all at once. You're just trying to maintain tempo and stay on the board.
Right.
And usually you don't even need the Gift of Luminance, but I'm pretty confident it's still actually in the deck, so I might be wrong about that. But it's a very good deck nowadays. Gabby is literally climbing rank 1 with it. So.
Yeah. What's the win condition of it? Is it a Cthulhu?
Actually, no. So there's no Cthulhu in it. It's just... You have so many ways of being able to generate resources to where You have random minions that pop out. You have ways of making your Nazmani and your Sethics so big that they can't be cleared. So you just keep snowballing even more removal with it. And the biggest piece of the deck that I would say that really saves it and really makes it competitive is Samoro into Apotheosis. Disgusting.
Oh, the lifesteal, yeah.
Yeah, and then you can even make it bigger now again with the other random cards that you have, because like Powered Fortitude or whatever the 8-mana card is just so cool.
Oh, that's for every spell in your hand is discounted by 1. I'm terrible with new card names. I have not learned a new card name in a long time. I just call them
Fortitude or something. I don't remember 100%.
Yeah. What's the legendary that when you whatever you heal, it deals damage when you play a battle cry?
Oh, Zarella?
Is that played?
Yeah, it actually is.
Because that's pretty good. That must be pretty good for standard, I imagine.
Yeah, it's in the control priest, but it's not in that APM priest, because the APM priest has only so many minions, and you also have like you have also of cards like Insight, so
I got you.
Specific minions you don't want to have Zarella clunking up like your potential of like hitting Samoro, because that's pretty much your Zarella in that deck.
Have you ever played Doom Eternal?
I have not played Doom. That was actually another one of my questions, is like other games that you're into, because I know that people know that the Doom meme is very alive on your stream.
Well, no, it's not even that. I've been doing Ultra Nightmare runs on Doom Eternal, and I just want someone to share my frustration with that's also played it. It's a fucking nightmare.
Run me through it, because I know that Doom, like, okay, so I'm not really a big fan of first-person shooters, but Doom is one of those games where it's actually a fast-paced and fast-paced, well-produced shooter that actually effort was put into it. It's not just like a carbon copy of like games that have happened in the past. Yeah. So, what do you enjoy about
it's
Doom?
It's like one of the best single-player games that's been released in, like, for me anyway. In my opinion, for like years and years, like since like I can't even remember one of the better FPSs. I can't think of like a better modern FPS than Doom Eternal. Doom 2016 was good. But at the minute, like, so I've done it on Nightmare a couple of times, and now I'm trying to do Ultra Nightmare, and that is when you die, it's over. You have to restart the game. So it's basically a no death run.
Okay. Maximum difficulty.
Yeah, it's a pain in my arse. Currently, I got to Cultist Based, which is the third level. Once I get past there, I'm pretty confident, Clark, I can beat it. Because then you have all the power-ups. What happens is, the start of the game is the most difficult, because you haven't got any power-ups. You got your minimal amount of weapons. You got like the shotgun, and you slowly build your arsenal. You haven't got dash or anything like that. But I'd recommend it. Even if you're not into FPSs, play it on a Hurt Me Plenty, whatever the easiest setting is, and just get into it. I highly recommend it. But I've been doing that on stream for the past, I don't know, month. In and out. Like I'll have like a week of like, oh, I'm feeling confident now. I reckon I can do it this week. This is the one, and then I'll fucking get one shot by a Cacodemon, and then that's it then.
Literally, like, okay, so I do play a few FPSs, because like I will give you the example that I usually go to. Like, I'm not a Call of Duty gamer. I'm a Borderlands gamer. I don't like just going up against people like online and that kind of stuff. I like a game that has like its own story, to where if I have to play it by myself, it's not an unplayable game. So like Doom does have like its own like a single player mode, right? Like, it's not just all about the multiplayer.
It's mainly single player, yeah. They do have like a multiplayer game, yeah. It's mainly just the campaign though.
Yeah, so I could definitely see myself trying that game in the future, because I massively enjoyed the Borderlands series. Like,
is
customization.
I was gonna say, is Borderlands single player, or is it multiplayer? It's like when you log on.
It's a single player co-op game, to where you could co-op with it, or you could just do it by yourself. I don't think there's like there's not like a multiplayer player versus player thing. Although you can technically duel your teammates and just assert dominance that way if you really just want to fight each other. But it's supposed to be like a oh god, it's like a scavenger game where like you find stuff on the ground that upgrades your weapons, you sell it for money, and you're just a bounty hunter. You're a bounty hunter in an apocalyptic world that is run by bandits, essentially.
Is it an RPG? Is it like, do you get like experience from killing stuff?
Yeah, yeah, it's an RPG.
Yeah, so I was
levels.
I was gonna say I haven't played it, so I was wondering if it's like I guess like Fallout, but a bit more basic.
Yeah, feel free to let me know about like how Doom upgrades itself. But in Borderlands, every single time that you level up after past level 5, So like, okay, so when you become level 5, for depending on what character you have like a special like skill action that you now have access to. But then every single level after level 6, you can upgrade like something on like a skill tree to where you can either go for like it really just depends on the character, because every single character has like different upgrades and depending on like what kind of character you want to build. So like for the psycho character, there's suicide psychos, there's badass psychos, and there's fire psychos. So you can choose to go on one of those three tiers to give you more abilities like that.
Yeah.
The commando has like stuff to where you can upgrade your turret or upgrade your bullets, and there's even like things that you can get to where you take less bullets per shot. Like this is a very cool game to where like it's all about the uniqueness of the weapon, not just about the people that you're killing.
Yeah. Did you get like unique weapon drops off bosses and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can get legendary weapons, and you can actually revisit the bosses, so you can try to like farm specific items. And that's something that's very interesting in Borderlands is I don't know how you set this up, but there's ways of like, just because you're fighting a boss at level 7 doesn't mean if you were to go revisit it at like level like 30 that he won't give you like the same level of items. Like there's like a way to set it up. I'm not 100% sure, but you can get like these really cool weapons at very high levels from the bosses that are like very early on in the game.
Yeah, I do. I like games like that. You know, like I played the original Deus Ex, which is like in depth. Like you level up your pistol or I don't know, heavy weapons and stuff like that. And then recently the new Deus Ex stuff is a bit more, I say, linear. But yeah, that sounds good. I know it's made by, is it Randy Pitchford's team? Is it Borderlands? I forget who the developer team is.
2K and Gearbox.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why I haven't checked it out. It's cell shaded in it. It looks it's like a cartoony type of Fallout type of game.
Like a realistic cartoon. I would say is the best way, because they really the art is actually what kind of sold me at first. It was because I'm a big animation guy. I like the fact that it wasn't just like, you know, typical army man fighting for his country in order to serve his military prowess. Like I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't. It's not that I dislike it. It's just overused. It's overdone. You see it every single game, and it literally has infected the gaming industry to the point where every single game that comes out is now just man with a gun. Doesn't matter what the game is, it's just man with a gun on the cover. Like it's overdone. I don't like playing the same game over and over and over again.
Well,
I mean, card games are one thing, but you change up a card game every single expansion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they try to, but it's like with original Call of Duty 1 and 2, it was a World War 2 and World War 1, like one.
Yeah, that made sense. They were telling stories.
And then they had like you have Medal of Honor. Remember that on the PS1. And then, but the thing with that is it made so much money that they just made a franchise of it. So
you had to. And
now
anybody would have.
Yeah, then it's like they have to release. They do try, like they had the one where it was in space. Was it? It was in, like Space Marines in one of them.
Wait, they had a Space Marine?
I'm sure they had like a.
Isn't that just Halo?
Isn't it Modern Warfare? Don't you fight in space or some shit like that?
That just sounds like Halo. Like the moment that Space Marines come in, like I guess like. I mean, isn't Mass Effect also Space Marines?
I always think of Warhammer, but I've never got into Warhammer or know anything about Warhammer. But whenever I think of a Space Marine, I think of like even like StarCraft. Joe, it's like a little tiny fella in a big mech suit.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on. So I have a search for Warhammer. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah, send me an image, because like I think I know exactly what you're talking about. But like as someone who played the Halo games, I just immediately think of Master Chief because it's just such an iconic character.
Yeah, he's like what's Spartan? That was it. I forget the name that they call it, because I vaguely remember playing that when it first came out.
That was it. The Spartans.
Spartans, yeah. They're like I think he's meant to be like 8 foot tall or some shit like that. He's the only one that can fit in the suit.
Card. Like I don't exactly remember the story of Halo. I just remember like, okay, so I played the second and the third one a lot, and then I just kind of dropped off. But yeah, he's just supposed to be like, I think he's supposed to be like the Jesus allegory or something along those lines, because Halo is actually very faith based if you look at what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's like I forget the story as well, but it's like they're trying to awaken something, and they awaken the plague or the flood or whatever it is. But yeah, it was meant to be like on a Apple, I think it was because Bungie used to make Apple games. They were like a big component of like Apple, and then they switched over to Microsoft to do Halo. I think that was the original like development of it, and it was like the launch because obviously Microsoft got into like the console game, and that was their like go-to IP was Halo. They was like, no one else can do this. This is what the Xbox Power could do. 'Cause you had the Dreamcast, then you had the PS2 and the GameCube come after that. Then that was the launch pad for the Xbox. Because I used to play fucking Gears of War on the Xbox 360 online, having loads of kids shouting down my ear.
Here's a question that just came to mind now that we're talking about consoles: Xbox or PS? Or Xbox or PlayStation?
I had a Dreamcast. I had a Dreamcast, and then when that died, I saved up and got myself an Xbox. And the only reason I got an Xbox was because they had Shenmue 2 and Jet Set Radio Future on the Xbox. I was like, okay, well, now I have to buy a fucking Xbox.
That's pretty respectable.
Yeah, that was the only reason. Because I was like, I had the Dreamcast like 3 years, and then they announced, Sega's no longer making games for it. I was like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, I was usually whenever people ask me that question, I'd be like, I have a Game Boy. I don't have a console. Like I just have my Pokemon games. That's pretty much all that I had when I was younger. Then my mom actually ended up winning like some kind of like Coca-Cola PS2 sweepstakes or something. So then we finally had a PS2 on the house. So I grew up on games like Final Fantasy series, Kingdom Hearts, Crash Bandicoot, all that. Spyro the Dragon. Can't forget about Spyro. Spyro was a big one in my childhood. But then one of my cousins or something ended up giving away his Xbox. So I finally got to play Halo, and I was addicted to Halo. Utterly addicted to it. There was also games like like Burnout, if you ever played that, where like literally it wasn't even a racing game. It was a car game where you were supposed to crash your car and cause as much damage as possible. It was perfect for an edgy teenager such as myself.
Yeah, I had I played Destruction Derby on the PlayStation at my mate's house. I remember that. That was the first like car destruction game. Or Carmageddon was a good one.
Yeah.
I grew up. I the first thing was an Atari. The first thing I played was an Atari 2600. So it was my cat's having pneumonia. Hold on a sec. Hurry up then, come on. Interrupting her.
What's the cat's name?
Katsu. There she is.
Aw.
She's a ginger idiot. I'll leave it to her. 2600 I had the Atari. It was like Alex Kidd. You ever read Alex Kidd?
Okay, so my very first system was the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the first game that I probably played was Mario and Duck Hunt, that double combination cartridge game.
Oh,
but I didn't really play like the Atari games because like I would say that I jumped from almost every single Nintendo system. I played the very first Nintendo Entertainment System, then my dad got a GameCube, then he got a Wii, and that's kind of like the progression of how that went on. Yeah. Because he kept his original stuff, but he really didn't get that many gaming systems until I came around. So
I was the opposite. I had a Mass System. I had the Mass System extension that went into a Mega Drive, or Genesis, it's called in the US. Like I had one of them, and then the doomed Sega Saturn and the doomed Dreamcast I had. But yeah, it was one of them where once you got that, we basically like maybe got like 1 or 2 games a year. So I had like Quake on the Saturn and Duke Nukem and Doom. I had all those on the Saturn ports, and then on the Dreamcast, I feel Quake 3 I was playing on the Dreamcast. I used to play all FPSs. Exhumed, which was called Power Slave, I think that game was called. Used to love
whenever I think of the Dreamcast, like wasn't that like around the time when Sonic was really, really popular? Because I had a friend that was majorly into Sonic.
That was one of the launch titles, was Sonic Adventure.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about.
Because
the only good Sonic games.
Yeah, because the Mega Drive ones 1 and 2 were great, and then you had like Sonic and Knuckles and stuff like that. And then the Saturn was just devoid of any good Sonic games. You had like Sonic R, I think it was called, and you had like some isometric top down, like some isometric view of Sonic, but it was terrible. I forget what one it was called. And then the big launch one was that and Shenmue. Fucking hell, Shenmue probably bankrupted them. It was so you can laugh at Shenmue now because if you play it now, it's not. I've got it installed on Steam. I've got it on Steam. You can have a good laugh at Shenmue now because it's a bit antiquated. But at the time, it was like, wow, you can fucking interact with any object. So like you walk in one room and you can pick up objects, and he just does this with his hand. But even that, just that, it was like, wow, I can't believe. Look at this technology.
I mean, it's like when Final Fantasy X had cutscenes.
And voiceover, yeah.
Yeah. It was the very first Final Fantasy with voiceover. I was trying to remember why it was significant, but yeah, like you just saw that for the very first time. You're like, wow, this is so animated. This is so well done. And then nowadays, the only thing that people talk about is the Titus laughter, the ha ha ha. And it's just...
Oh yeah, I hate that. Yeah.
English voice acting is always going to be a thing of art in terms of it's always going to be really good or really bad. There is no in between.
Yeah, it was weird. Like during like the first like PS1 era when you have like and Saturn era when you had like Resident Evil. Like I don't know how they were hired. Do you know how they hired those voice actors? If you ever heard like Resident Evil 1 voice acting, it's really wooden. Like again, I'll link you some of this stuff for like the after edit, but
yeah,
it's like I don't know if they're hired in Japan as like English voice actors in Japan, and it's I don't know, or the direction that they give them is really terrible. But every line delivered in the original, like even like there was a game called D2 I think on the Saturn, and I had awful voice acting. But it only got good during like I suppose even the PS2 obviously has like bad voice acting games or whatever. But
like. Okay, so like the game that I played the most on the PS2 was definitely Kingdom Hearts 2. Like that is probably the game that I have put the most amount of time into. Probably more time than Hearthstone, just based off the fact that I played this game in my my growing years as a teenager, and I played even more of it in my adult years because Final Mix and all of that came out.
Have you still got your memory card?
I actually do. Yes, I do still have my memory card. So I have my original data. It's in the other room. I'd grab it if I knew exactly where it was. It's in a box somewhere. But I recently lost my cord, so I can't really play it on my PS2. But my friend has the Final Mix on his PS4, and we recently did a Kingdom Hearts level 1 run. And I think I said this in the last recording, but I always just love to say this. But it's literally Kingdom Hearts Dark Souls. It is the most difficult thing I have ever done in the gaming world, and I don't want anybody saying anything to me until you yourself beat all of Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix on critical mode, because it's the only mode that you can do it. Is literally the hardest difficulty at level 1.
Should stream it.
It is actually hell.
You should get
I am going to stream it.
I would. I've still got my Dreamcast memory card with Skies of Arcadia on it. I think I probably put like 60 like again when you're like a teenager or whatever. Like 60, 70 hours just staying up at night playing Skies of Arcadia.
Absolutely easy. Every single game I played was like 60-something hours.
I know. Now you're like, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I try to sit down now and play like some single player games. And maybe like I get an hour out of it and then I start getting bored. Like an hour is all it takes for me.
I can agree with that because like I have an issue. Like the last game that I played that was new that I completed start to finish was Spider-Man. The one that came out on a PS4 by Insomniac Games. It was a very great game. I mean, I love Spider-Man as well, so that just kind of helped me like pick it up. Like the gameplay was the main reason why I loved it, because like the most awesome part of the game is not even any of the action. It's not even the story mode. It's not the fighting. It's just swinging from building to building, and just literally the aesthetic of just like free falling around Manhattan. It was such a good game, and everything else about it just lifted up the game for me. And like I haven't really played any new games except for like I guess Among Us and Fall Guys since they came out. But like I don't really play those games anymore. Among Us is like you kind of need a good lobby in order to get a good game going, and I haven't found a good lobby anymore.
Yeah, I mean I grew up like with like these Spider-Man games on like the Mega Drive and stuff like that. And they were always pretty bad with like a couple of exceptions. So that always put me off like getting like modern games with like superhero stuff, because when you're growing up you get disappointed. So I always have this bad memory of like shitty Batman games or shitty Spider-Man games.
And
To the
like with the
point where,
most recent Marvel game that came out, it was very underwhelming for a lot of people. Like it just seemed like it wasn't fine-tuned the way that a game like that should be.
what one was it? Is it like
It was like a oh god,
well,
it was like Marvel story mode, I guess is the best way to describe it. I really don't remember what the game was called. I just remember Moist Critical streaming it, and he essentially beat it on like the first time he played it or whatever. But it's just like your run of the mill like a Batman game. Like you just do missions.
oh yeah.
You sometimes alternate between some of the characters, but it just didn't seem like for the graphics were amazing, but like the game itself didn't match up to what everybody else thought it would. And like that's one thing when like games don't match to people's expectations, like Cyberpunk or something like that. But this game just felt like it was lackluster a little bit, like it was just missing that last bit of meat in order to really make it a good game.
Yeah. The thing with like those type of games like Cyberpunk, I mean, I expect anything that's been plugged as being ambitious. I always give it like a year or two to actually play it, so I give I give them a chance to patch out whatever issues they're gonna have with it. That's to be it sounds bad, but you have to expect that now. So like, I bought Skyrim the first week it was released, and I uninstalled it the second week. Because it was just I had like two missions bug which I couldn't complete the missions, and I kept on thinking, well, they'll patch it soon, and I left it for a week, left it for another week, and then after that uninstalled. So it's like it's one of those where I will eventually get around to playing the likes of Cyberpunk and a couple of those other games like No Man's Sky. I'll probably play that soon as well because that's had a load of patches. But it's just
No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
That's a great example. Literally what we're talking about.
It's been what's the name? Really patched up. They stuck to the guns and tried to make the vision that they had, or whatever you want to say. A good video to watch is Internet Historians. No Man's Sky. Oh, cut down, you cat. Internet Historians story on No Man's Sky is really good. It's 40 minutes long, so you'll need a bit of time.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. I love video essays. Like I actually watch Nakey Jakey, Hot Diggy Demon, obviously Donkey, and Internet Historian is someone that I have seen before, but I think you also referenced him last time as well as somebody that you not only look to for entertainment, but also for a little bit of inspiration.
Yeah, oh no, he's really good, yeah. I mean, so whenever I try, like, when I'm doing stuff in the background, so instead of, like, podcasts and stuff, I'll stick one of his like, videos on and I'll watch him multiple times because it's just nice background noise. So I do the same with, like, OSW review. I don't like wrestling, but I like listening to people talking about wrestling, and which is an odd thing, obviously, because I never watch wrestling, I have no interest in wrestling. I love listening to wrestling podcasts. Don't know why.
Are you talking about like legit wrestling or like
no?
wrestling?
Oh, WWF,
Okay,
that kind of stuff. I've never seen it. I don't watch it. Don't keep up with it. I know wrestlers. I know like Stone Cold and Kane and stuff like that. I just love listening to people talk about it because they're so passionate and like they're really
so explosive too.
Yeah, they're really like into it, and I was like, oh, this is a good listen. This and their OSW review is really good. I recommend that. They're from Ireland, and they do like old school. It stands for Old School Wrestling Review. OSW,
Okay.
Old School Wrestling. So they do like the Hulk Hogan arc and the Lex Luger story arc, and what are they covering now? The new gen. The new gen is what they've just got off. That's like 93 to 96 or something like that, I think it was. But anything that's interesting that I quite like. I've seen Jakey. I've seen him a few times doing Last of Us. I think I watched his Last of Us review.
Yeah, he's mostly known not just for his essays, but he also did like a video takedown on Rockstar's game design, talking about how it was mostly like outdated. And this is coming from somebody who loves Rockstar games. Like he's played a bunch of them to excessive amounts. He just notices there's like a few things that are like wrong throughout all of the Rockstar games, such as like there's an open world that you really can't explore. There's a lot of like things that seem overdone while you have all of these other aspects of the game that are very, very fine-tuned. But yeah, like Nakey Jakey, like I actually referenced him earlier. Like I referenced one of his videos when I was talking about how video game cover art now is just like stuck to like man with a gun. and he had like a video that broke down like video cover art, video game cover art throughout like the years. How like back then when like the oh god, when the Nintendo Entertainment System broke, finally was released, that all these video games had like these stellar pieces of artwork that would go on the game themselves. But nowadays, like you're not buying the game based off of what is on the front of the page. It's what's actually in the game. It's not like it used to be.
You just reminded me. Oh, the old like you look at some old Master System and old like Mega Drive cover art, and that was the selling point. Like obviously like graphics are limited and gameplay is obviously like a point of it, but a lot of that was like having something stand out on the shelves. Where now it's like the game industry now is so large that you don't really need the artwork to sell or to aid in selling. But you just remind me of a great video like Mega 64 do a great like short comedy video with like look down, oh no, face down, look up, and it's a selection of video game box art that every character, whenever a character is on screen, like on the box art, and it's just them, it's usually face down, eyes up, and it just reminded me of that. I'll have to like remind myself to like send you some of this stuff so it doesn't look like I'm rambling about random shit.
I totally get that. Like I actually share that sentiment. Like I like effort being put in every single aspect, but obviously when a company has to like, you know, push out games, reach deadlines, that kind of stuff, you have to, you know, cut corners every now and again. But you know, perfect world for perfect situations. And speaking of perfect situations, I think this will be a good time to go into the Q&A portion of the podcast, since we got a lot of comments on here. And I figured we could just do as many of these as we can knock out until we reach the time limit. So the first one that I'm seeing here is actually from Will Scarlet Casts. I've had the great opportunity of being able to meet him, and he's asking you. Yeah, he's asking you specifically what's your favorite thing about him. And I'm assuming this is because you guys did a cast together before,
oh no,
right?
well no, I went to is it PAX? I think it might have been PAX in Seattle for Teppen. And Will was doing a commentating on Teppen with horrible chopsticks, and his dress sense. There you go. He was well dressed. Was that? I think is that what he wanted me to say? I think it might have been his dress sense. He had a lovely blazer on. I remember he had a lovely blazer and shirt.
Yeah, I actually met Will Scarlet when I went to oh god, was it I think it was DreamHack Austin. Yeah, I think it was Austin where I met him. Because I think he was either doing some casting or he was professionally playing in one of those DreamHack tournaments. But the only reason why I know who he is because he and Dr. J ended up winning like the contest, like So You Think You Can Cast. And so they ended up like getting like a major casting gig for some Hearthstone event. I don't remember exactly.
It was what. Was it the college? It was the college.
Might have been actually. Was it Tesla?
I think it was. Yeah, I think so. Because I remember speaking to Will. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I remember Dr. J being like a prominent caster at the time, so it felt really good in order to see like him kind of bring up somebody else, because he ended up getting some other casting gigs with Hearthstone for a little bit, and then suddenly he dropped off. I don't really know what happened.
Yeah, I think I spoke to him once when I did the Wildcast in 2019. He was a finalist, wasn't he?
I don't know actually. I know that Dr. J had a lot of like achievements underneath his belt because he ended up winning a DreamHack Cup, but I don't know if Scarlet got any big W's. I mean, I just don't know him as a competitive player, to be honest.
I only know him as I've only met him as a caster actually. Yeah, he was doing the casting for Teppen. It wasn't. I think he played on stage with one of the big guys at Capcom. I think it was. I can't remember the gentleman's name. That was he was a nice guy, lovely guy.
Yeah, but like you said, very, 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 very nice dresser. He was always well dressed at every single event I always saw him at. The next question is from Snuggle King HS. Why is he laughing like that? Is he possessed or the devil himself? Is this a reference? Because like the picture that I have is just you at the Wild Open, so I'm imagining this is something specific.
I have a very Weasley laugh, like a Tunnel Weasler, and I think he's referencing that. That's unfortunately my laugh. So you know, I can't help that, mate. Unfortunately.
Maybe there's just too much Weasel Priest going on in your streams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't laugh like that in general, but I can do a good weasel laugh, and if I'm in the mood, I'll whip it out like.
This next one is from Cadsbury. Dane, if there was going to be another Wild Open, would you rather compete or cast? I would personally love to see you cast again.
Yeah, Wild Open. Whatever happened to the Wild Open? I forget what happened to it. No, it was 2018, 2019, 2017.
They just stopped doing it. They just pretty much said that they weren't going to do it anymore. But the question is just pretty much like, would you rather cast an event or participate in it, I guess?
Do both, eh? I'll cast the matches. I'm not playing it. No, I did try it.
If they won't let me cast it, I'll compete in it kind of deal. Like, that's my shtick.
I attempted to do the 2017 one, and I think you had to place in I think it was like top 64, was it? Or something like that for your region. And at the time, I was working full time, so I did get into the range of it. I think it was like maybe 58, 59, and then just dropped out into like the hundreds. But I don't know, maybe play it. I'd like to play it maybe if I could get the opportunity to do that, but I don't think they're gonna bring it back. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, to be honest. I mean, I am trying to get onto the Hearthstone esports team. Fun fact: I sent in an application for the management of production, I think is the role or something like that. But I will definitely be talking about Wild Esports because I think it honestly only has the potential of going up, but this isn't that kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I just really think that they should support it to some degree. Just make one event a year at least. It would get people into the format. Okay, so the next question is, how exactly did Dane get into Hearthstone and specifically into streaming? So what made you get into the game to begin with, and then what made you decide to stream it?
I just saw someone else doing it. I thought I could do that.
That's literally how it is for content creators. I saw somebody else doing it.
So I could do that as a hobby. I just used to work, come back, and then just like set it up. I thought it's more interest. I'm more interested in like learning about things really. So it's like I like editing the videos because I can learn how to do like different like I'll see something on some video like I think I mentioned last time I saw Joel Harvey's like animation thing. I really like Joel Harvey's comedy, so I was like oh, how does he do that? And then I saw he released a video showing people how to use it. It's with a piece of software called Epsynth. So I was like, oh fucking hell, I'll have a go with that. Yeah, it's time consuming, but it does work. He does it really well. I'm not too sure how he does some of the effects on his videos, but it was more just like I was playing Hearthstone a little bit, and I thought the only reason I streamed Hearthstone was because my broadband was so limited. I probably would have streamed FPSs, honestly, like Quake or something like that, but my bandwidth was so shit. I could only stream card games because they're static. The screen's static, so you don't need that much bandwidth to stream a card game. And at the time, Hearthstone was getting popular. So that was it. I just saw someone else do it and thought, oh yeah, I want to try that.
I mean, like I said, that's usually how it starts. Like most people will ask their favorite content creators how they got started, and will try to like kind of piece together their own ways of making content. And I think that's a great way in order to figure out if you want to do this. You know, if you literally see somebody having fun with this, it makes you want to do it yourself, and that's why I did it. I saw people having fun. I thought, hey, I can maybe do something with Hearthstone in my spare time that isn't just mindlessly grinding ladder. Because I'll tell you right now, that gets pretty old pretty freaking quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a case of like, as long as you enjoy. I enjoy streaming more than I enjoy Hearthstone, but that's not to say I don't enjoy Hearthstone. I just enjoy streaming more, and I enjoy editing the videos more than I enjoy streaming. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy streaming. It's just like I enjoy all of it to different levels of to different degrees. One sec, my cat's going off on one ear.
No, you're all right. You're right. You think you got time for 2 more questions? I found 2 pretty good ones.
Go on. Yeah.
All right. So this next one is, dude, from the immense pool of combos and crazy cards, what is a combo or card that you dislike the most, but you had to play it?
Oh, that's easy. Yeah, Psychic Scream. I fucking hate Psychic Scream. But yeah, you gotta play Psychic Scream because it's the best priest card or best priest removal. I feel pain for my opponent, and I feel pain for me when I get it played against me. But I've now come to the conclusion that if you play Wild, only one person enjoys the game. Only one person. So if you win, and obviously you can enjoy a game and still lose, but with Wild, I think only one person gets to enjoy the game.
I would agree with that. Like, that's part of the reason why I've started playing combo decks, is because at least if I lose, I have nothing that I'm losing. And even when I do pop off my combo and I still don't win the game, my opponent gets to win. So like, I was literally talking about this on my last stream, where it's like, guys, if you see me on Wild Ladder, I'm probably doing something goofy. Let me do it, and we'll both have a good time.
Yeah, it's nothing worse than when you're about to do it and then they concede.
Literally, that's the one reason I can't take my combos into casual, because that happens all the time.
Yeah,
and at least there'll be some every now and again you'll fight up against like a thief rogue or something. That's like, all right, what's he doing here? I gotta see. I gotta give him respect. All right, the last question. Let me see here. So I'm pretty sure this is going towards like your intros for your videos, because you had like some kind of like weird was it a weird intro, or did you have like sponsored content for a little bit where like you had like advertisements and stuff? But
it's a mix. Yeah, it depends. Like if I have an idea for one of them, I'll do it. It's usually like I'll try to do like maybe 3 or 4 a month. But it was with an advert as well. Yeah.
Okay. The question is though, is there any possibility for content outside of video games? I personally think that you have a knack for acting.
I definitely don't, but I could. I mean, I was trying to branch out into. She's playing with something now. I was trying to branch out into like Pokemon, opening Pokemon cards, which is very low effort. It's not low; it is low effort, and it's sitting there opening shit. But I got into it because I wanted to get into it, because you can do a lot of like stupid edits and have a bit more of a play around with the camera and whatnot. But probably not. No, I don't know. I don't know if I can make long, interesting videos. Maybe little shorts, but not nothing too long. No.
Yeah, I've been looking into possibilities of like getting into like skits and whatnot, but I'm just trying to like diversify my content like as a whole. Like, I feel like with the way that my content's beginning to grow, that as long as I like find something that my audience likes, I'll just stick with it. But I feel like it's kind of harder with someone like yourself who's been solidified in this for so long, that I feel like if you were to post something that isn't necessarily video game related, some people will be like, what's going on here? Maybe I'll give this a click and see what's up. But that also puts more pressure on you, to where if that video isn't as good as people's expectations, suddenly they may not come around for future videos like that.
I would just upload like me putting up a shelf or something like that, doing DIY, or putting the flooring down, or like caulking some stuff, or maybe I'll, don't know, do a video of me sealing the bath.
More realistic how-to videos for the
I'm not a fucking professional DIY
DIY
person, but that's the point in it. Do it yourself. But I know for a fact if I uploaded a DIY video, I would get hundreds of comments from experts that will go, that's not how you do that, mate. That's not how you do that. You want to do this. And I was like, well, yeah, it's fucking DIY, lad. Do it yourself. I'm not a professional. But I know that would happen. But I would like maybe to upload like a few DIY projects on YouTube. I'm building a outdoor cattery for Air, because she
clearly needs a lot of attention.
Yeah, I know, she's lovely. She's a little needy. I've got 2 cats, so I'm gonna do an outdoor cattery for them. So I'm gonna build like a couple of like 2 meter bits of timber, some goat wire. And then I'll probably just like put the posts in the ground with some concrete, and then make a frame for it, a little door, and then they can chill outside then when it's sunny. Because at the minute, like I do let them out in the garden, but only under supervision. Whereas I can just let them go outside in the cattery if they fancy it. I'll probably upload that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someone's interested in building a cattery outside.
Well, not only is the cat absolutely gorgeous, she's absolutely adorable as well.
She's annoying. Look at her. What's she up to? There she goes.
Yeah, cats are definitely interesting creatures, to say the least. My girlfriend's gonna be bringing in 3 when she moves in with me, so that's gonna be it's gonna take some getting used to. But luckily, my dog can get used to other animals as well.
That's good. Yeah, usually dogs are relaxed around other animals. A cat, she was not happy when I brought home another cat. It took about a week and a half of like proper. I know I did introduce them properly, so you have to have like the cats either side of the door so they can smell each other, and then you slowly introduce food. So then you feed them on both sides of the doors, so you get them like acclimatized when they eat together, and then you slowly let them see each other where you have a little barrier in the way. And then what happened was, after about 2 weeks, I think it was, she jumped over the barrier, and I was like, shit. It's like, but they didn't attack each other. They just hissed a bit, and then they slowly came to terms that they now have to live together. So yeah, they're fine with each other now. They usually they sleep together and stuff like that, so they're fully what was it, acclimated to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I would say that cats and dogs are just emotional on different levels. Dogs are very emotional with like how they give affection, and cats are very emotional in terms of like, I do what I want, you deal with it, and that's just how things go. That's why I love dogs more. You can interact with them a little bit more, and I feel like you can teach more dog. Like you could definitely teach a dog more things than a cat, because a cat's a lot more independent. But it just comes down to, can you look after the animal a lot? You can't. Okay, get a cat.
Yeah. Well, I work from home, so these are the like a mixed Maine Coon with something else. I forget what the mix with, but the Maine Coons are basically like dog. They call them like dog cats. So these will play fetch and come to their. You can shout the names and they'll come to the name, and they basically just chill with you all day. So they're as close to a dog as you can get without getting a dog, and they shit in a litter box and then clean it themselves and then leave it for me. So
all right, well, we are reaching about that hour mark, just to make sure that we can get everything recorded without any problem. Yeah. But Dane, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here as not only a Hearthstone personality, but as one of my personal friends. Is there any other thing that you would like to say before we end this episode?
No, a pleasure, mate. I really enjoyed that, and I'm hoping to get this file over to you now, where it doesn't fuck up.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get this uploaded. I'll definitely get this uploaded before I move, so it'll be live in the next 2 weeks. But guys, this has been Dane. All of his links will be down below in case you are somehow insane enough to have not come across this man
Don't
yet.
follow me on Twitter because I don't use it.
At least check him out on Twitch, though, because he's got a lot of really awesome decks and a lot of really interesting interactions you guys should take advantage of whenever you get the chance to check them out. But guys, this has been Dane. Obviously, this is the Hearth and Home podcast. So if you enjoy what you are seeing here, feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel, or if you're happening to listen to this on Spotify, because I finally stopped being a lazy piece of shit, this is finally on Spotify. So do whatever it is those people do on there. Yeah, been great to finally have Dane on the show yet again, and looking forward to another episode, which we're not gonna release any information on that yet, but just know that new information is coming, and we're going to have some very cool people on the show that have been confirmed. So once I get those dates, we'll have that released. But regardless, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you for the next episode. Peace out.